everyone, Matt here from Herbal House, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to assemble your HPS or your metal halide lighting kit. Now these lighting kits are typically included with the HPS Grow kit or sold separately. Now there's three major components to these kits, the first one being the ballast. This is going to be powering the bulbs and adjusting the wattage at which they're driven at, and of course we have the bulbs. Now the bulbs are a HPS and a metal halide. HPS is commonly your flowering bulb, metal halide typically for your veg. Finally, we have the shade. Now this is what the bulb's going to screw into, and you're going to connect the shade to the ballast. Pretty straightforward, but we're going to get into more detail about that in just a second. There is one little component though I want to mention, and that is the heavy duty rope ratchets. So these are optional in these smaller lighting packages, but a great asset to have when it comes to actually setting your system up. It means you can adjust everything on the go really easy. So let's get into it now. Okay, so first things first is we want to install our bulb into the shade, but starting with the shade, you'll actually notice there's a please remove protective coating film from the shade first, and that's really easy to do. We're just going to grab a corner here and we're just going to peel this right off, just like that. You don't want to have this on your shade when it's working, so let's throw that over there. Now we're going to install the bulb. So when it comes to a bulb, we've obviously already removed them from their packaging. You don't want to use your fingers if possible. Using gloves is definitely preferred, but in this case I have a cloth. So I'm just going to gently grab the bulb. Now in this one I have the HPS bulb in my hand. For a lot of people this is the most common bulb used, but there is of course the MH bulb, which is your veg bulb. So fitting that, use a cloth, and we're just going to wind that securely into the shade fitting. So you're basically just going to wind this right in nice and firm and secure because you want a very good electrical connection. So really easy to set that up, and that is now installed. So now that we've got the bulb securely fitted to the shade, I just want to briefly mention why we recommend using a cloth or gloves to fit them. It's simply to prevent any contaminants, particularly the oils on your skin, from getting into contact with the bulb, because these bulbs run very hot, and if you've got hot spots from the oils of your skin, it can greatly reduce the life cycle of your bulb, and of course we want to make sure it lasts as long as possible. So now that we've got those two mated together, the bulb and the shade, what we're going to do is we're going to connect the shade to the ballast. So you'll notice the power cable coming from the shade is a 3-pin power cable. It looks quite similar to a standard power cable, but it is not. They are specifically designed to match up with a ballast. Now, what you'll see here on this particular ballast, and to be fair, all digital ballasts and even magnetic ballasts, they'll share the same plug type. So they're designed to just simply push together like so, and you now have a secure connection between your ballast and your shade. So that is ready to operate, apart from the power side on the ballast here. So this one comes with an attachable cable, just like so. And you've got now a standard 3-pin power cable on the front. So that's designed to plug straight into a wall, which is going to power up your system. But in this case, we do recommend connecting it to your timer, which in an HPS Grow kit, you'd simply use the mechanical timer that's included to regulate the light cycle for this system, which means it's going to be powering up this for 12 hours a day, 18 hours a day, however you've got it set. So a really nice, easy way to get that up and running. But just before I move on from the ballast here, I'll just show you the front side. And just over here, you're going to notice a dimmer knob. So that's going to allow you to have complete control over the output from this ballast and in fact the bulb. So what you'll see on the front is we've got 250 watt, 400 watt, 600 watt and super lumens. This is simply going to adjust that drive wattage going to the bulb, which is in turn going to adjust how much light the bulb is producing and of course affect how much wattage the system is pulling. So really good if you don't need that much intensity for those sensitive growth stages, and very easy to ramp it up when you do need it for the high performance flowering or fruiting stages. Now, just to move on from there, I want to mention how you'd set it up. So just on the back side of the shade here, what we've done is we've preemptively bent these tabs using something like a pair of pliers or a screwdriver. You're just going to get that in there and just fold these tabs up. They're built them out of really good high quality steel, so once you've got them bent into place, they're not going anywhere. And that's a really easy way to adjust or attach, your adjustable hangers, chain, or any other method you have for hanging this shade in your grow tent. So just like this, we'd use our adjustable hanger, and that's simply just going to clip onto the back side there. So just what we're going to do is take this all around back, and we're going to set this up in a grow tent and show you guys what it looks like in actual application. So most people are going to be working with a grow tent for their grow space, and a common question is, where should I install the ballast? Now, these do actually generate a wee bit of heat, so just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to actually setting these up, I recommend trying to install them in the tent if you can. The way I like to do it is mount them to the bars at the top of the tent. It's easily accessible and it's a compact solution. You don't have anything external of the tent, and you can easily adjust the dimmer. Now, there's a trade-off with that, because while these do generate heat, you don't particularly want to be adding that heat to your grow space, particularly in the middle of summer. So what people will do is they'll fit this ballast external of the tent, no problem at all. We just recommend putting it on a hard surface so it's not just sitting on carpet or anything like that, just to keep that heat away and keep your system safe and operational. So what we're going to do is we're just going to install this ballast now and just give you guys an idea of what that looks like. Okay, so now that we've got the ballast where we want it, we're simply going to install the shade and bulb. As you can see, the bulb is pre-fitted to the shade. We've got hangers already sitting on the back side, so we're simply going to stretch out these hangers, hook them onto the pole and ratchet this into place. Okay, so now that we've got the equipment set up in the grow tent, you're going to follow that same connectivity procedure we had on the table, which is going from the shade into the ballast and finally into something like a timer. So I've got that power cable here. You'd simply plug that in the front and set the timer where you need it. Most people are going to be working with a mechanical timer, nice and simple. Backside's going to go into a power point and that's going to regulate how long the light is operating for. So let's take a look at that now. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the system up and running behind me and we've got that really nice golden glow thanks to the flowering bulb. Now, as you can see, that golden glow is going to be very high in red photons, very good for that fruiting and flowering performance. Now, don't get me wrong, you can run that the whole way through. There is absolutely no problem with that, but the veg bulb is going to be producing a very cold and clinical white light, very high in blue photons. Now, the reason that is when you're vegging a plant out, the plant will stay short and stocky, which is typically a desirable trait in the veg cycle. So just keep that in mind, key differences between the two bulbs. One other thing is these bulbs here, the flowering bulbs, when you turn the system off for whatever reason and fire it up immediately, the flowering bulb will start up with no problem at all. The veg bulb will require a cool down period of at least 30 minutes before it will want to start up again, so just keep that in mind. Now, I will mention that these bulbs are extremely hot when they are up at temperature, so please be careful and allow at least 30 minutes before you do interact with the bulbs, whether it's changing them or moving the system around. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, please get in touch with us here at Herbal House. Thanks for watching.